Hey guys, Pickle Rick here from Llama Labs, back with another episode of Sailing the Open Sea. Seen a big boom in the past week or so on some of these projects that started out as open edition mints on Manifold or some of these other sites. Lots of these artists slowly branching out in Web3 with these mints, just kind of doing some cheap mints, getting some love on Twitter, getting some recognition, and especially ones who have pieces that have sold for high values in the past. Their collection pieces that are coming out now are starting to be a little bit more valued, especially when there's some sort of burn mechanism or deflationary mechanism involved. So definitely start to look around, do some research on maybe get involved in some art communities that are getting to these first. We'll also look into the sewer pass, which we touched on a bit last time, and the DigiDaigaku villain claim was today as well. So we'll take a look at what's going on there. So we'll start things off here with the sewer pass. Obviously, people are just still playing the game. Lots of people have been just posting their high scores. And one thing to note with Yuga, they sort of just like defy the logic for most potential plays. There's 23,000 NFTs in the supply. Only 650 are listed. You have to realize that these people who are invested in Yuga, these ape holders, they're not just here to take small profits. They really they're stacking up on sewer passes, getting higher tiers. Lots of consistent above floor sales on these other tiers because they're trying to get these high scores to um, try to get the most rare possible, whatever these mecha dogs that are coming in the future, they want to get the best ones. And we saw these were around 1.9, and people were saying that they missed out on that first dip to like 1.2, and we kind of just never saw these dip again. It's just people kept waiting for more dips and they just don't really come. Like lots of accumulation here. Just been fluctuating between like 2.6, 2.8, but it did go over 3 ETH. And so that's one thing to note with these Yuga projects, these drops, could be an indicator for other deed as well. That is a much higher supply, but with the success of this, still getting some above floor sales on higher tiers, people might start reinvesting in other deeds. So definitely keep an eye on sewer pass for any potential dips and other deed, just because the apes aren't really going to let these go that low. They're just going to start scooping them up and sweeping. We'll go ahead and shift over to something I was talking about earlier with these independent artists. Lots of them have been getting a lot of support and coming up with these cool deflationary mechanisms. We had this project Proceed with Caution that minted recently. It came out. The blue one was available for mint. I forget if it was either free or like 0.004 Ethereum mint or something like that. Kind of stayed around like a point, zero to 0.15. And I don't if you saw my call on Llamaverse, I called them on the first pullback from they hit 0.3, they pulled back to 0.23. I called them around 0.25, and they just kind of took off, hit zero point 0.4, pulled back, hit and then hit a high of around 0.68. The first real explosion happened when basically what the deflationary mechanism is here. Um, there's a cap of 1051 for each color. You can burn a dark blue to get one of these other colors, and it was made known that red happens to be a highly sought after color in this artist's collections. He tends to favor red, so red sold out quickly, and the red floor actually got to about zero point 0.9 Ethereum. So you can see here it's pulled back, still sales around like 0.6, 0.67, 0.68, but it peaked at around 0.9 when the remaining collection was around 0.68. So lots of profits to be made here. The pullbacks, we saw this go to 0.68, pull all the way back to around 0.49 here, hit 0.6 again. We saw some pullbacks, some pumps, and it's currently down to 0.45. The yellow and purple have sold out, and so we can see here. So we have yellow is at 1051 as well. I believe we still have Arctic, green, orange, and pink that still need to sell out. So I think there's maybe 10, 12 hours left in the burn. Should be over on Friday. So who's to say whether this could see more pump once the burn is over, especially if these aren't sold out. These could be more valuable as people try to collect full sets. Lots of people have been sharing their full sets on Twitter. So it's still not known what's going to happen with full sets or what's going to happen after the burn is over. But a lot of people are enjoying these sort of like gamification that these artists are doing right now. Another one that's been popping off is by Jack Butcher. It's these checks. They were kind of holding around a 0.2 to 0.3 floor. And then in the past couple of days, I'm not sure if people are taking profits from proceed with caution, but 16K supply, only 830 listed. We know that there's a burn coming for this, and we saw them peak at around 0.5 Ethereum, and these just keep getting swept. Every time there's a dip, we see a sweep. So there is a pullback right now to about 0.4 ETH. But we could see there's been a bunch of derivatives that are crediting Jack, for inspiration. So we could just see another pump here in the coming days when we see what's next. Jack has been on a few podcasts. I believe he was on the Proof podcast as well to talk about what he's doing. But it seems here like the contracts are ready for testing, so the burn should be coming soon. Definitely just keep an eye for when that's going to happen. As when the burn starts, there's only 830 listed, so supply shock could hit pretty hard on a collection like this. We'll also go ahead and take a look at DigiDaigaku. I'm sure a lot of you saw Gabriel, has been tweeting about these for I want to say like 1 or 2 months. Built up a crazy following, and people everywhere are pretty much we're pretty much trying to get whitelist for the DigiDaigaku villains, especially after the announcement that they bought an ad in the Super Bowl. They did start the claim today, currently sitting at a 0.55 floor. It's a free claim, so lots of profits to be made here, and we should see these profits just kind of flow back out into the secondary, like into other collections. So look for look for where these profits could be going. Maybe more into these art projects that we've been looking at, or seeing as DigiDaigaku is that anime style. We could see a pump in some anime project floors. So just keep an eye on the villains. There is an unmasking that you can do with them as well. So some potions related to the project have been getting bought. Very large ecosystem, so just look to see what happens when this sells out and what announcements come out as well. Right now still just kind of no updates since the claim started, so could potentially go either way. Continuing off of that art meta, we have Toshies, project I'm sure a lot of people are familiar with. The artist Chuck Chi is the artist for Alpacadabras. This project was very hyped, but also extremely overallocated. Saw raffles for this on, if you ever checked Alphabot, there was a raffle for this like every day, multiple projects. And so, when people are constantly losing those raffles, there's always going to be that FOMO after the sellout. Um, there was a really big gas war. People were using their minting bots, and that's always going to come with some negative sentiment. And so we saw that with the peak being right after sellout, 0.28 floor, and it's just been slowly declining since that mint out. With these types of projects, these over allocations, people who FOMO in at the top, they tend to undercut quickly. They panic at the first sign of a loss, and that's kind of what happened here. Is just a steady decline, but it has held this zero point 0.1 area twice now, so look for this to slowly accumulate and bounce back up. Um, Already seeing the sales go back to almost 0.15. Reveal hasn't even happened yet, so it's possible that with reveal and a good announcement, this really picks back up to maybe those zero point 0.2 levels. So definitely still keep an eye on this project. Art meta is still like in full effect, people supporting artists. So definitely just keep an eye on the Twitter. That's pretty much going to be it for this episode. Thanks again for watching, everyone, and see you guys next time.